4 years of waiting, countless trailers and delays, and quite a lot of radio silence. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown has finally been released, and it's safe to say that the early access launch of tdusc has been a bit of a bumpy ride, to say the least. Nearly 2 weeks after its early access release, many players are still facing server issues that are a major pain point for many. I pre-ordered the standard edition, and after just over 12 hours of gameplay, I've compiled my thoughts on my experience so far. For the record, I am playing on PC, and here are my PC specs right here. So let's get started with the video. Let's kick off with what you see, the visuals. While tdusc is nowhere near as photorealistic as Gran Turismo 7, what it offers is still visually engaging. The shading and weather effects, particularly the fog during rainstorms, are quite well done and add a nice layer of immersion. However, there are small annoyances, like the lack of an opening animation for the Lamborghini door handle in the intro cutscene, which feels like a really missed detail for me, although I am clinically insane when it comes to car details. But overall, especially on PC, it looks pretty good. Although optimization is still a bit of an issue, but that sadly is something that has come to expect from modern gaming. The handling of the cars in Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is relatively solid, some of the best in modern games, but there are still some quirks. For example, at certain angles, your car will have a near allergic reaction when it hits a curb, which takes away from the otherwise smooth driving mechanics. The map, though, is a stunning highlight. The recreation of Hong Kong Island is impressive, with varied environments that are fun to explore. Every turn feels alive with detail, from the realistic textures of the road to the vibrant foliage that changes with the weather. The shifts in weather and time of day features an enhancement in driving experience, making every drive feel unique and immersive. Despite its smaller size compared to past TDU games, the map is packed with enough variety and visual splendor to keep exploration exciting and fresh. One of the bigger disappointments, however, is that you can't sell cars in the game, which is a surprising omission given the game's focus on collecting and customizing vehicles. In addition, some features from previous Test Drive Unlimited titles are notably absent at launch, like player-owned houses, leaving a sense of incompleteness for long-time fans. Another issue worth noting, and it definitely has not been documented before, is the lack of an offline mode. With the ongoing server struggles, an offline mode feels more essential than ever. If the game were playable offline, players wouldn't be so dependent on the sometimes unreliable online infrastructure. Performance overall could use a bit of optimization as well, and to think that the server issues wouldn't be such a glaring issue if said offline mode was available. With 122 cars available at launch, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown offers a decent variety, though it's worth noting that several of these cars are different versions of the same car, which can feel repetitive. The newest car in the game came out in 2021, and considering this game has been delayed for 2 years, the car list now feels a little outdated. Not to mention the shocking TDU2 models have somehow made a reappearance. Like guys, Test Drive Unlimited 2 is 13 years old now. Some of these cars didn't even look good in 2011, never mind in 2024. On the plus side, the car customization options are pretty robust. There are decent performance options and aftermarket wheels, but I would have loved to have seen some real-life options included, along with more cosmetic parts which match the offerings of the car mechanics, such as, the body parts you can get in an A110R or the performance packs you can get with the BMW M4, even though they're very ugly. Although the cars look pretty detailed, despite some looking like they were modeled in Blender with a Nintendo 3DS, some functions aren't fully functional, such as the power meter in the Alpine A110's heads-up display, and there are smaller bugs and events that pop up from time to time, taking away from the immersion. In terms of car prices, they're pretty expensive, but you get decent awards for races and challenges, like you will be at 1 million credits in no time. Although some cars cost more than 1 million, you should be able to save up quite easily. If you are expecting a banging soundtrack, you will be pleasantly surprised. Each car sounds absolutely mega. The backfires, turbo noises, the echoing in the tunnels, and even distant sounds. The exhaust notes are brilliant, I gotta say. However, if you wanted actual music, then you might be disappointed. The music in Solar Crown leaves a lot to be desired, with royalty-free tracks and DJs that can be more grating over time with infuriating names. It's clear that the budget of €2.50 on music wasn't enough, which is unfortunate given how important a good soundtrack can be for a racing game. Ah well, I guess Spotify in the background will do, or hopefully they may add a live radio like in Euro Truck Simulator 2 or Farming Simulator, although they can come with licensing issues. The AI, while decent, is far from perfect. One oddity is that they don't seem to be able to race in the rain, which feels pretty realistic to be honest, as often how rain impacted AI usually go ridiculously fast. Additionally, traffic can act erratically at times, further complicating the driving experience. That is when they are around, as despite Hong Kong having over 1.18 million residents, which isn't actually that much to be fair, it's less than Ireland, but you would still expect more life, hustle and bustle from the map, as it can look pretty dead sometimes. Even some more pedestrians walking around would be a great help. The game's online-only nature is one of its biggest hurdles. Not only do the servers remain unstable, but the absence of an offline mode make the game even more frustrating. There's a growing sentiment among players that online-only games should be banned, or they should at least offer an offline mode, especially when server issues are prevalent. Also, here's a weird one. For me, I pre-ordered the game like I said earlier, but for some reason my 4GT is missing and I cannot access it. This has been a source of frustration for players, particularly those who have already reached the required level 20. In conclusion, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is a good game that shows immersive potential, but still needs some polish. The missing or broken features like the servers, lack of houses, and the ability to sell cars leave the game feeling rather incomplete, especially for a title so long in development. However, the pros like the beautiful map, good handling, and decent car list shouldn't be completely overshadowed by the cons. That being said, I would recommend that players hold off purchasing Solar Crown for now until some of the major issues are addressed and key features are added or fixed. We have a big update on the way, so I'd nearly wait till then. There's a lot to love about Solar Crown, but waiting for a more stable and feature complete experience might make your time with Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown that much more enjoyable. It is very underwhelming and disappointing to say that even after a 2-year delay, I think another year would have been more ideal, or at least releasing this game as early access to not annoy everyone with yet another delay. Refusing to listen to some of the fans' feedback definitely wasn't helped either, as it would have avoided so much pain post-launch. Wink wink, offline mode. Considering the changes in stance from the crew, Need for Speed in the past, and other titles turning their backs on online-only titles, it is bizarre that TDU and KT still went ahead with it. Although I was very excited for this game, I do feel a little disappointed. However, it's important to note that this game isn't all that bad, and I do think it deserves a chance. If we can just back the developers and give this game the support it needs, I think we will have an excellent title for everyone. But of course it does falter in certain areas. So what's my final thoughts on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown then? Well, I think it's mid. Anyways, have you tried Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown? What were your thoughts? Or just let me know down in the comments below. And remember to like, share and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, please tell your friends. And once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon.